Welcome to Unchained. My name is Jorge Miguel, and I'll be your host for today and for every other show. And today's episode is about seeking validation. Now, this episode today is for those of you who lately have been feeling like you're lost, like you don't have something to offer in life, like you don't really know who you are or who you should be in the environment that you're in. Now, I feel like most of us, especially me, when it has happened to me, when we fall into that idea of feeling lost, it's because most of the time we're not getting validation from people. And when we don't get that validation, it kind of messes with our self esteem and our personal growth to be independent, and we become dependent on people's opinions and validation towards us. And what it does is that it holds us back from becoming our best selves, our the higher self that we're meant to be. Now, this episode is one that I really resonate with, and I had to make a topic about this because I'm talking about this because I've been in that position before where I was seeking a lot of validation, and when I didn't get it or I didn't get that instant gratification, I felt like I wasn't enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And all it led me to do was end up in a loop in my head and be stuck for months and not moving forward. I just got blocked. Like, you know how some people have writer's block? Like, I got dancer's block, I got mental block, I got all types of blocks. So, today we're going to talk about uh, why it doesn't benefit you to be seeking validation and what to do to get out of it. So, if you're someone who knows somebody who's going through this, or you yourself are going through this, please share it with them, as this episode I think will be beneficial to whoever's listening or watching to it. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. It's going to help my channel. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, follow and listen to it because it's going to help you. So, first things first, when you start seeking validation, it creates the opportunity to build a shaky foundation. And everyone knows that a house built on a not so well built foundation is not a good home, right? You want a home that can withstand storms, withstand rain, withstand a hurricane, especially if you're in Florida, like I am, earthquakes, whatever it is, right? And just like a home, you are your temple. You are your safe space. You are your, what's that? Like your bunker. You're your own home. You know what I mean? And you have to be able to build a solid foundation. Now, the reason why I say not to seek validation is because if you don't have your own principles and morals as to what is good, what is wrong, what is right, you're going to constantly be seeking those, how can I say it, affirmations? No, I don't know the word. You're going to be seeking approval of your life from someone else. And in the end of the day, you can't really explain detail by detail everything that you do to someone every single day. You have to be able to be able you have to be able to do it for yourself. Now, obviously it's super easier said than done. You know, like when you give advice to people, and you know, the advice you give to people is like if you yourself are an expert, but when it comes to you, it's like it's gone. And it's the strangest thing. Trust me, I've been there 1,000 times. But you have to find a way to do it. You have to find a way to build that self validation in order for you to become who you're meant to be. I'm gonna give you an example or a story of mine that happened to me. When I decided to go into the dance world and I went ahead and did everything I did, there was a choreographer who came into town. I'm not gonna mention names, um, to stay away from drama, but there's a choreographer who came with their morals and principles of what's good dancing and what's not good dancing, and all power to them. But the mistake of mine was that I allowed their standards of what's good and bad to determine what I thought was good and bad for myself. What ended up happening was that every single time I went to go learn something new or I went to go do something on my own, when I didn't feel like I was up to par with their standard of what good is, I started self sabotaging myself. I started saying, well, I'm not good enough because this person will say this and blah, blah, blah. And then let's say I went to go ask that person, they would confirm that I wasn't good, or someone else would confirm that I wasn't good. Which in the end of the day, most people and everybody needs to go through criticism. Um, but that's not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is that I allowed the way that they thought, whatever they thought was good, to affect me to a point that was too extreme in my head. It led me to start doubting myself. And when you start doubting your step, man, things don't go your way because you're going to end up being someone's puppet. You're going to end up being someone's dance monkey. And that's where your value comes from, right? So when you're self-validating, you'll be able to put your own value, your own self-respect versus depending on someone to put it on you. When I was able to realize that and I started seeing that it was consuming my thoughts, I had to take a step back and be like, no, I got to stop doing this because I don't feel good in my own body. I don't feel good in my own presence. And I was basing that off of a standard that wasn't even mine. So when I pulled back, um, and I started realizing that what I am good at and honing in those skills, that's when the opportunities of my life started showing. That's when they started appearing and presenting themselves because I was no longer in this negative frequency. By the way, nothing against what the person thought was good or wrong. It's their beliefs. But what I did was I embodied those beliefs to the point where it became toxic for me. So the fault here is mine, but no one else to blame but mine, right? So when I stopped seeking that validation from that person and the people they were surrounded by is when honestly I started feeling better. Um, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever seek validation because low key everyone needs it and everyone searches for it. It's understanding that if it doesn't get validated the way you want it, it shouldn't affect you to the point where you can't be yourself, right? And that's gonna bring me to my next point, which is the erosion of your self authenticity. Like you can't chip away at yourself to please someone else. Sometimes you have to adjust to the environment, the situation, but not to the point where you get lost and you forget about yourself. For instance, in life, when you like somebody or you love somebody or you really like a job, you'll do anything to keep that job or that person or that relationship. But what happens is that when you start doing that, chipping away from you, you then start creating resentment to the one thing that you loved in the first place, right? But here's the catch. When you start chipping away from yourself and you're no longer your authentic self, you start becoming a different version of your true form, right? But that different version is going to attract what that version attracts, not what your true form attracts. So your true form then starts questioning what the new version is receiving. But this is this and that is that. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that if you want the blessings for your true self, you have to be your true self. You cannot expect for people to be, let's say, version A with you, but currently you're version B. It doesn't match. A with A, B with B. You get what I'm saying? And what happens is that it's going to eat at you. And when you start building resentment in your heart, that's when you start operating at a super low frequency and nobody wants to be around that. Yes, the world should be empathetic. Yes, the world should try to understand your feelings and try to do all these things for you and be great human beings, but the same way that you're going through it, it's the same way that everyone else is going through it. That's why you have to be able to save yourself sometimes. And it's the hardest thing on this planet because sometimes you want to hear those words of congratulations, you're doing awesome, you're the man or you're a strong woman from the person you want to hear it from. But the majority of the times we don't get it when we want it, right? And you cannot allow that to change who you are, right? A lot of times, right, when we realize that people are not giving us what we want, we allow ourselves to then be changed. We let the bad take over the situation, and we now pin reality in the world with that negativity, and then we stop being kind, we stop being nice, we stop being fun, we stop being funny, and then you start wondering why everyone's getting away from you. And I'm speaking out of experience because it's happened to me so many times. When I was on tour, though I was surrounded by 15 dancers who were all great dancers and in the same field as me, I never felt more alone in my life. Nothing against them. They were going great. They were doing great with their lives, but the things that I thought were funny and the things I wanted to express about wasn't accepted in the group, in the sense of like, it's not that it wasn't accepted, it's just that it's not for that group, you know? So what I ended up doing was that instead of me saying like, me trying to mold and be different, and every time I did that I felt uncomfortable, what I did was I was like, you know what, there's 70 other people on this tour. Let me go make some new friends. And when I made those new friends, what ended up happening was that I found a group of people that liked the way I talked, the way I walked, the way I thought, the way I debated, the way I stood up for what I believed in, and the conversations flowed, right? And then I felt accepted. I felt seen. I felt true to myself because I wasn't like worried about what are they thinking about, what are they going through, did I say the right thing, did I not say the right thing, should I have said this, should I not have said that, man, I should have been more careful. Like when you're walking on eggshells in life, it sucks. And if you feel like being your true self and wherever you are right now in your life is a problem, then it is a problem, because then that means that you're going to become something that you're not in order to fit in. And then you're going to get resentment for other people versus realizing that that's not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be in your truest form, your purest form, in order to receive the true blessings and the the kindness and love and support that you're supposed to get, right? Make sure that when you are trying to validate yourself, it's really not based on other people's opinions of you, okay? What ends up happening is that if you do that, it's going to put you in a cycle of comparison, and that's going to lead you to feel super insecure and super anxious. It's not beneficial to you to end up in a loop. The worst prison on planet Earth is called the mind, which is the whole point of this podcast right here. Is called Unchained, right? To break free from the mind, you have to break free from the loop. There's constant loops being thrown at us for us to get distracted and get worried about stress and life. But the worst one, well, not the worst one, but I already said the worst one, right? Um, the one that does the most damage, in my opinion, is the one that puts you in a loop of um, getting confirmation and approval from external forces. When you do that, it's almost secure and a for sure situation that you're going to get into that is going to end up negative, because humans are predictable, but you don't know when they're going to do it. Like, you're predictable in the sense of like, you understand that if I say this, they're going to get mad at this. But you also don't know what day they're going to wake up in a bad mood, what they're going through, if they just stubbed their toe, if they got into an accident, if they got into an argument, they broke up with their girlfriend or boyfriend. Like, you don't know, right? But you don't know when people are going to do that. But the loop of comparison is torture. It's torture, especially when you compare yourself with people that you see on Instagram, when you see people who are walking in real life and they're, holding hands with their couple, or they have their life well put together. Let me tell you something. Social media has made it so hard for people to be authentic that everyone is using filters. Everyone is posting only happy versions of themselves with their couple or about their life. They're showing trips that they took 5 years ago today to make it seem like they're on the go. Like the vicious cycle of comparing yourself, your life to other people can take such a toll that you'll literally say, you know what? I don't have it together. I suck. I'm going to stop because I can't do this anymore. Don't do that. Don't compare yourself, because if you yourself know that you have altered a photo, you have been in a sad mood but posted a positive photo, just imagine how many people do this. Okay? You're not the only person who's going through it in life and puts up a facade, a wall, to not let people into your personal life in order to make it seem like you have it all together, which is fine. I totally agree with it. What I'm saying is, don't beat yourself up if you are not where you want to be, or by comparing yourself to something that you see on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, wherever it is that you want to, wherever it is that you're seeing it, right? You don't know how many times I myself have been in situations where I'm searching for a specific feeling that a photo or a video made me feel. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but for me, there's been, like, for instance, like Christmas, right? Like making the hot chocolate, the gifts, the tree building, the this, and you watch that photo and it has background music, right? And that background music puts you in the mood and it puts you like, oh, like I want that. And then you can recreate it yourself and then you're like, something's missing. And there's always going to be something missing if you're consistently comparing yourself. Okay? Create your own stuff. Create your own feeling. Put your own background music. Create your own idea and movie in your head, in your heart, you know? So when you learn to not compare yourself to other people, right? You'll be able to feel a little more free. I don't know if that makes sense. The comparison of others is a good thing if you know how to use it to your advantage, but it's a bad thing if you let it affect what you do next, right? If it's the one thing that's stopping you, because like, what if I don't look that good? Trust me, no one is born with everything figured out in their head. No one is born with all the answers. Everyone is figuring it out, right? You can figure it out. You are capable. You are powerful. You are awesome. Trust me when I say that you can do it. Now, this whole podcast is literally nothing if I don't give you tips. Last episode, I was talking about the first step, and I feel like I missed a couple of things, right? But even then, it's my first episode, trying to figure it out, right? And now, instead of me seeking the validation to see if people like it or not, I'm like, I'm just going to put it out. So I have some tips for you guys today. I brought my handy dandy iPad, which is crazy nowadays, right? Instead of saying handy dandy notebook, it's iPad. All right. So here are some tips to help you get away from seeking validation. All right. So number one is going to be self-reflection. A lot of times we get caught up in life and we get caught up in paying the bills. Is my partner upset with me? Did I say the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? Hey, sometimes you need to take a big pause to realize where you are at the moment that's giving you anxiety and stress. So with self-reflection, take a moment to pause. Pause and breathe. Okay? Try to breathe through what it is that you're feeling. Try to feel what you're feeling. Okay? And what happens is that when we get so caught up in life and we're stressed, we point fingers everywhere else. And I love this saying. I don't know who came up with it. But it's like when you point at someone, there's three fingers pointing back at you. Unless you're like point with all your hands. Right? But majority of the time, people point, right? You have to make sure that when you are feeling stressed, you stop and realize what it is that you're doing or what situation are you in that's making you feel this way, right? Sometimes people forget that other human beings, are a reflection of themselves. So if you're getting a negative feedback from someone, you have to check what it is that you're doing sometimes to be triggering that in other people. Not all the time, of course. Some people are just being on their bullshit, but Sometimes you really do need to see what it is that you're doing or what energy you're giving off in order to realize why this person in front of you is reacting the way they're reacting. But you do that to be able to catch yourself. Okay? Self reflect on what you're feeling, self reflect on what you've done or what you're doing in order to get a clearer vision of what's going on. Okay? Number two, set some internal goals. Now, internal goals can be a variety of things, but something that I recommend is that give yourself some positive self love affirmations. Okay? Make sure to remind yourself that it's okay to be not okay. It's okay to be figuring it out and not have it all under control. That you're loving, that you're awesome, that you're inspirational, that you're good, you're well, you're positive, speaking into existence. Okay? Make it a goal to talk to yourself like that once, twice a day, 4 times a week. Make it a goal to do something positive for yourself. Make it a goal to go be kind to someone else. Make it internal goals so that when you put stuff out into the world, it comes out with love and kindness and not resentment and angry and flustered and frustrated. Set internal goals that you know you can accomplish so that when you put stuff out into the world, it's good and you'll feel better about yourself. The third one is going to be practice self love. Okay? There's this one thing that I saw one time. I don't know who was it who said it. I think it was the guy who plays Superman. But he says, was it him? Somebody. They said, if I was to talk to my best friend the way I talk to myself, they would. Oh, I know who it was. Sorry, it was the guy from from Prison Break. I forgot his name, Michael something. Um, the quote goes, or he says, if I was to talk to my best friend the way I talk to myself, he wouldn't be my best friend. Right? Sometimes we're so understanding with the world. We're so kind, even when we know they're toxic, even when we know that they have all the baggage in the world, even when we know that they did something despicable and you still love them for who they are, then you come back home to you and you like, I suck. I'm not capable. I shouldn't have done this. I'm bad here. I'm bad there. You have to practice self-love. When you bash yourself like that, believe it or not, you're speaking it into not only your subconscious, your conscious, and into the universe. Okay? You have a thought, then it turns into words, and then it comes out. But if you're going to speak it, you're still hearing it. Even though it's coming from you, you get to hear yourself. You know, practice self-love. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Okay? Number 4, mindfulness meditation. Okay? I am the worst when it comes to meditating because my mind is on 1,000 on unnecessary stuff. But I've learned to stop, breathe, and relax my mind. Now, I'm no yogi master or yoga master, but though what I learned about meditation was that the way it works is that you allow your thought to come in, you acknowledge it, and then you let it go. Okay? It's not to block out the thoughts. It's like 1,000 thoughts per second. Like it's almost impossible to block them. No, you have to let them flow through. Okay? Once they flow through, then there's going to be a blank space. And that's when you enter the zone. Okay? Practice it so that you can be present with yourself. We're constantly thinking about the future and we're constantly thinking about the past. But we forget to be present. So be mindful of where you are, who you are, what you're feeling, because if you cannot forget about yourself, you cannot. You have to be aware. You have to look inward in order to put outward good stuff. So, and number 5. Number 5 is surround yourself with supportive people. Listen, anyone who told you that you can do it on your own It's not lying, but it's not the best approach. Okay? You have a supportive system, whether you think you do or you don't. You didn't come into this world alone. I said this in my last podcast, and I'm saying it now. You didn't come into this world alone, and you really cannot do anything alone. Make sure that when you're going through life, whether it's good things or bad things, you have people who are supporting you for who you are, and are not trying to change you. They're trying to enhance you. They're trying to make you better and more efficient, so that when you step into the social world, you exceed. Right? The support system that you have is going to determine your success. For a long time, I've been surrounded by the wrong people, the wrong conversations, the wrong debates, the wrong everything. And sometimes we get so caught up on trying to help people and love people, and giving to people, important to people, to show people how good we are and how deserving of love we are, that we forget who's supporting us. Who's supporting you when you're down, right? So make sure that the people who are around you give and pour into you the same way you pour into them. You know what I mean? A lot of times we just give it out and give and give and give and give. And then sometimes we're like, hey, what about us? And then some people will gaslight you and be like, oh, so you only did that so that you can get something out of me? Sorry. But the reality is that everybody in this planet uses each other. Whether you want to call it using or not, the truth is that everyone is of service. Everyone. So there's something that you're talking to me about right now that is going to help me in the future. And there's something that I'm saying to you right now that's going to help you in the future. What type of support system do we have? Okay. What type of support system do you have in your life? Whether it's your family, your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues, your teammates. Make sure that you have a solid support team. Okay. Now, I'm gonna share 5 more things. um, this last one for me, these last 5 is gonna be something that I looked up and I did some research on. Um, and it's some strategies to break free from comparing yourselves to others. Man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because it's almost inevitable, especially in today's age. Like, it's so hard. But number one is gonna be cultivate self-awareness. Okay, it's gonna sound like some of the things I mentioned earlier, but you have to be self-aware of who you are and what it is that you do, especially when it comes to your skills. There's things that you're really good at that other people are not good at, and you need to focus on that versus what they're good at. Okay, focus on your personal growth. Right? If you're someone who lacks the capabilities to listen to others, learn to listen. If you're someone who's impatient, learn to be patient. There was something that I heard recently, forgot who it was. I need to get better at this so I can quote them. And they say the solution is in the opposite of what the problem is. So if the problem is that you're impatient, go be patient. Oh, it was that guy Alex Hormozy. That's him. Um, if you are not strong, go work out. If you lack empathy, learn how to be empathetic. Go the opposite route that you've been going, right? So have the drive to try to grow or strengthen your personal growth. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Practice gratitude. Okay, this is something I've always struggled with because I'm a skeptic myself. Like I question everything I go through. Um, but sometimes you have to just remind yourself that you being alive alone is a blessing. Wake up and just be thankful. When you're thankful for things, it shifts your day because it goes from thinking about, damn, I have to pay this, I have to pay that, I have to do this, I have to do that, I didn't do this, all that, to like, wow, this is awesome. I'm alive. I get to see my loved ones. I get to see my mom. I get to go eat. I get to have fun. Be grateful for the things you do have versus what you don't have. Most people are wishing to be where you are. There's some people right now in the world, right? We're not gonna get into it, but some people are going through it worse than what we're going through, right? So being grateful is going to help you just appreciate life a little more and just have a reminder that things are going well, right? Next is going to be limit social media. This is something that I struggle with. I struggle with everything I say. But the times that I've limited social media, I've always felt cleaner. I've always felt lighter. I've always felt less uh, disturbed. It also depends on how you use social media. Some people use it for business, but the majority of times people use it for personal uses. You can use social media. You just have to understand how you use it, because it could put you in a trap. Man, that scrolling is addictive. I get it, but limit it so that you can break yourself from even falling into attempting to compare yourself to somebody else or something else. You know what I mean? So try to work on that. And last but not least, number 5 is going to be to embrace your uniqueness. I can't stress this enough. Nobody is you. Nobody can do it like you do. No one can say it like you do. No one can wear it like you do. Embrace yourself. My success in social media, right, was when I realized I'm going to be me. Whether someone likes it or not, I don't care. F it. I'm going to go ahead and dance shirtless because I can and I have the body to do it. I'm going to say what I say because someone likes what I have to say. I've had so many people support me and love me for who I am through social media than people who are right next to me. Okay? When you embrace your uniqueness, man, it gives you that boost of like being comfortable with yourself. Right? And that doesn't just go social media. Be yourself, right? Embrace yourself so that you attract the people that you truly need in your life. So you understand that the people who are next to you because you are you. And when you achieve that, even if it's one person, because that's all you need, one person to love you for who you are, it's going to be worth more than having 1,000 friends that are next to you just because you've been putting up this front that you're funny and that you're happy and you have it all together. Because wait till things go bad, and then you'll see who's really your friend or not. Okay? To wrap all of this up, don't forget to be you. Be you and try to limit seeking validation from others so that you don't get lost. You don't feel like you can express yourself to the fullest. Now, I'm not saying this to be bold and be disrespectful. I'm saying this so that when you are putting out your work and you're putting out your best efforts, the results and the blessings that come your way are authentic and are genuine to who they truly belong to, which is your true self. Okay? If you've been feeling lost, it's okay. It's okay to feel lost. Trust me, we've all been there. Anyone who's told you they've never felt lost, that person is not a human being. Okay? We've been questioning life since before Christ, literally. Okay? It's okay. You'll figure it out. Every single day you learn, every single day you grow. It's all about how you go into it. But don't forget about you. You first, you second, you third. Humble and kind, but be you. Okay? So I hope this podcast today hit home, clicked, helped you feel better. If you think someone needs to hear this, make sure to share it with them, as I am sure it'll help somebody on this planet, especially today and age. Yeah. But that was today's episode. Once again, my name is Jorge Miguel. Don't forget to drop a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel and follow my podcast on Spotify. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and see you on Thursday. Okay? Love you. Ciao.